Well, right now, Jesus is undocumented. Tomorrow, Jesus is going to be trans. Welcome back. Be sure to subscribe. Let's get right to it. First topic. So Trump is teasing a 2028 presidential run with some new merch on his Trump store. I mean, first of all, let me know what you think. Would you be supportive of a Trump third term attempt, or do you think he should just keep it at 2 and keep it the way it's always been? But I think the only reason he might actually be able to do a third term was there might be some sort of loophole where, you know, he didn't serve 2 consecutive terms, and there might even be something with him getting faked out of that second term there. I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know how he might be able to swing it, but I mean, let's be real. Who do you think would win in an election, Trump or Obama? Because there's going to be all the people saying, well, Obama would be able to do a third term, which who knows, unless it's that loophole of the consecutive terms. But first of all, I think Trump would murder Obama in a freaking an election these days. I mean, Obama has does he have any supporters anymore after this past election where he was stunting for Kamala, telling all the black people how they basically ain't black, and well, that was a Biden, but I'm pretty sure Obama was doing the same thing, scalding the black people, but yeah, it's just, it's pretty funny that Trump's actually doing it. And the guy means business because he put it on a koozie. Is there anything more American than a koozie? I don't even think they have koozies anywhere else but America, right? And of course, Trump knows how to give his people what they want. They want a Trump 2028 koozie. And that's for sure, right? I might have to get myself some koozies. But all right, let's get to the next topic here. So a woke Illinois pastor says that Jesus was undocumented. Go ahead, take a look at the clip.
Jesus was undocumented. Let me just say that again and let that sink in for just a moment. The very person we're celebrating today, the very one in whom we worship, was undocumented. Jesus was a refugee. Jesus knew what it was to flee in fear and to live as a stranger in a strange land. Jesus was that person. If Jesus came today in flesh and blood, would we even let him in? Would we let him cross our borders? Would we let him into our synagogues and sanctuaries? Or would he be met with a wall, a cage, or a flight out of the country to El Salvador?
So yeah, just let me know if you went to church and you were hit with that type of thing from your pastor. What are you doing? But you see, this is exactly what they do, right? They use Jesus to push their agenda. They get the woke pastor in there because they want the church to be a little bit more inclusive, right? To get a little bit more people in there. And then they just start using Jesus to push their agenda. Right now it's Jesus was undocumented, so we need to let the undocumented immigrants stay here, because why would we deport Jesus? Well, right now Jesus is undocumented. Tomorrow Jesus is going to be trans, folks. And then now, would we kick trans Jesus out of the church? No, we have to be accepting of all the people because Jesus was trans, and then what is it going to be after Jesus is trans? I don't even know if there's anywhere you could go after that, but because that's pretty much the end all be all, Jesus being trans and them allowing trans people into the church and embracing that type of lifestyle. But yeah, this is just the standard playbook, folks. If you want a woke church, you get the woke pastor who just uses Jesus to push his agenda. But yeah, I hope if you go to church, you don't encounter that type of thing and just have your whole church where you worship just completely upended by some sort of woke BS like that. But all right, let's get to the next topic. So an activist judge has blocked Trump's voter proof mandate, which, is there anything more un-American than blocking voter proof mandates? And there's some other things the judges have been blocking lately. I'll put up a list, but it's Like, do you even have a country? Do you even have a president if he can sign an executive order and then some activist judge can just be like, oh, no, not on my watch. I'm not going to let Trump do his thing on my watch, you know? It's just like, get out of the guy's way and let the man cook, you know? America has voted for what they want. Trump's actually giving people what they voted for. And now you got some woke activist judges who want to pretend like, no, I'm doing this for America and, you know, I'm going to stop this man. That's exactly what they're doing. They're playing the old, I'm going to stop this man for democracy, you know, and it couldn't be anything farther from the truth and what needs to happen in reality, right? It's just sickening that this type of thing is going on and it's being allowed to go on, and that this, like, I don't even know if there's really anything you can do, right? Is there really anything you can do at this point? But all right, let's get to the next topic. So George Clooney thinks Megyn Kelly isn't a journalist because she hasn't been to Darfur in the Sudan. Go ahead, take a look at the clip.
You see Megyn Kelly, she's who's come out and said, you know, I'm not a journalist. I didn't say I was a journalist.
Neither is she, by the way. Anyway.
You know, but I'm not quite sure what she's done. I've at least been to, you know, Darfur and Sudan and the Congo and been shot at and to try to get stories out. And I'm not quite sure what she's done to be a journalist.
Yeah, so Clooney's playing the old, you know, oh, you can't talk about it card because you've never experienced it card. Like, oh, you haven't been to the Sudan and gotten shot at. So, yeah, you can't be a journalist. There's just no way. I mean, the only journalists who ever existed have been to the Sudan and they've been shot at, you know. Clooney, the guy has just been such a, this is just another one of those fall from graces. Hollywood has just completely just been lambasted with just morons, and now everybody's seeing the light and like, oh God, yeah, like we don't want anything to do with Hollywood people, and we don't want these people telling us anything, what to do, or, you know, lecturing on us on climate change or basically anything. We don't want to hear it from Hollywood about anything anymore. And you got this other woman conducting the interview who obviously just hates Megyn Kelly because she's way better looking than her and she's way more popular than her. So she's got to go in on the bashing, you know, because that's the cool thing. Oh, of course, George Clooney. Yeah, no, she's not a journalist either. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just like, it's like, come on, dude, come on. Clooney's just, do you believe Clooney's got a good point there where, oh, if you've never been to the Sudan and been shot at, you can't talk about the Sudan and you're not a journalist? No, that's a terrible point. It's just because, you know, then basically nobody would ever be able to talk about anything. If that was true, what Clooney's saying, nobody would be able to talk about anything, right? And it's the people like that who want to push that type of narrative that, oh, you're not a journalist unless you've been to the Sudan. You know, those are the people that are ruining the world, right? Because they're just gaslighting you and just putting out bullshit into the world that's just making the world a worse place. And just in the name of like, I'm going to try to get a few likes and be woke. That's basically what it is, right? Oh, Megyn Kelly, she's a right-winger and she supports Trump, so I'm going to bring her down and talk about how she's not a journalist. And Clooney, like Clooney's a journalist. But all right, that's it for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and we'll be seeing you.